All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at how to safely step back from the daily grind of your operations without losing your grip on the actual quality of the work. Now, if you run a small business, a trades company, or consulting practice, you probably know this feeling all too well. You start out doing literally everything. You know every single customer, every job site, every file, and every weird exception to the rules. But over time, that closeness actually starts to hold you back. You unintentionally become the bottleneck. So we're going to unpack exactly how to fix that. Just to set the stage really quickly, the Built to Thrive framework we're using has 3 layers: awareness to notice the issue, practice to apply a tool, and maturity. We are currently in the maturity layer, which is all about strengthening your system so your business can run consistently even when you aren't hovering over it.
So here is the honest truth, and it can be a tough pill to swallow. Control does not come from touching everything. When you were getting off the ground, being hands-on with every little detail was completely necessary. But now, that same closeness is a liability. True control actually comes from clear routines, visible work, and having enough solid evidence to know what's happening without having to do it all yourself. Let's walk through the 7 steps to help you get there.
Step 1 is pretty straightforward. You need to identify exactly where you are the bottleneck. Take a hard look at your daily operations. Where is work just sitting, waiting for your green light? Are there specific questions from your crew or staff that constantly end up back on your desk? Or maybe routine follow-ups only happen if you personally remember to do them. Spotting these friction points is your very first step out of the weeds. Now, step 2 is an absolute game changer. You have got to separate your true judgment from your memory. See, some decisions absolutely do require your owner-level judgment. Things like setting pricing, managing risk, handling refunds, or dealing with unusual exceptions. But standard invoice reminders, saving job site photos, checking to see if an account is unpaid, those are just memory issues. They really don't need your high-level brain power. They just need a simple, reliable routine. Moving on to step 3, we want to pick an area where visibility matters a lot more than your direct involvement. Instead of trying to figure out how to completely vanish from the business, ask yourself, what do I actually need to see to trust that the work is moving properly? For instance, you probably don't need to write every single quote yourself. You just need to be able to see that those open quotes are moving smoothly through the pipeline.
Step 4 is where we set up some clear boundaries by defining what actually needs your approval. We can break this down into 3 categories. First, no approval needed, meaning routine work can just keep moving forward. Second, approval needed only if outside limits, so the work moves automatically unless it crosses a specific line you've drawn. And third, owner approval always needed, which is strictly for when true judgment, risk, or major pricing decisions are on the line. Getting this right stops the endless interruptions.
Next up, step 5 is about giving you your eyes back by adding simple visibility points. Think of a visibility point as a way to see exactly what is happening without having to chase down the details yourself. This could be a quote tracker, a missing document list, a job status board, or a Friday review checklist. These tools give you the evidence you need to feel fully in control, but without hovering over your team's shoulders.
For step 6, we're going to take a small but highly impactful action. I want you to remove yourself from just one routine touchpoint. Pick one specific place to stop being directly involved in the daily work. For example, maybe you replace your manual intake explanations with a simple saved email template, or maybe you hand over the whole photo checking process to your team using a closeout checklist. Just pick one thing to step back from this week. Finally, step 7 is all about reviewing your results. Take a look at the changes. Is the work more visible now? Is follow-up happening more consistently? Are mistakes actually easier to catch, even without you holding all the puzzle pieces together? If you find that you have to remember less and fewer basic questions are finding their way back to you, then congratulations. You are successfully replacing sheer owner effort with a functional system. I want you to take a breath and really let this sink in. Your goal here isn't to vanish. You do not need to disappear from the business. You need the business to stop depending on you for every routine detail. That is how you free yourself up to focus your energy where your judgment actually counts. So how do you know when you've hit that sweet spot? Well, you've reached good enough when you can confidently check off these boxes. You know where you're the bottleneck, you've separated your judgment from memory tasks, established what you need to see versus what you need to approve, removed at least one touch point, and reviewed the impact. If you've done all that, your control is rooted in a real system now. Now, to put all of this into practice today, you can grab the Owner Dependency Reduction Planner. It's a paid download that maps out your exact next steps, so you don't have to guess. And just a quick heads up, if you already own the Operations and Systems Maturity Toolkit, this planner is actually included right inside it. Which brings us to one final, really important thought. If your business keeps growing, but you remain the ultimate bottleneck, what is going to break first? Getting out of the weeds isn't a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing process. Once you've reduced dependency today, you've got to be ready to adapt tomorrow. So in our next guide, we'll be tackling exactly that: how to review systems as the business changes. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.